experiment.
And generally, I was sort of seeing like albums as like a painting with sound. You know, it's like this, it's like a canvas. It's a permanent thing, and it's its own, you know, entity kind of. and you just your approach is kind of, it's like you try all these different kinds of approaches. So like I know like George Condor, you know, some painters that start off and they make like a whole creature or something, and then they don't like that, and they end up just painting over the whole thing, and over this period of time, it just takes on its own personality. And a live gig is just, it's just all about in the moment, and you know, you can't erase any of it, and you know, you can't change it, and you have to just you can give it more time to develop, and in a different kind of way. I actually, the longer we've gone on, the more and more I see the album world and the live world as more and more completely separate entities. They're not. You know, you used to be trying to get what you do live onto record, or trying to do what you know you do on record and into the live thing, and then over time it's like, oh, okay, yeah, we shouldn't even try to do that at all. Don't even try to cross those worlds.
Is this more like a? Is it more like a jazz, the way a jazz musician would think, where they'll use themes from something that they've recorded, or and then it just goes on from there.
Yeah.
But or sometimes we'll just come up with new themes by jamming between songs or extending a part of a song. We like to try to leave a lot of room for spontaneity in the live show.
How's that going to work on TV?
Well, that's like we were just talking about.
As long as the camera people improvise too.
Everyone, the caterers, we expect them to be improvising.
Turkey, no ham.
Strawberry clam caramel.
Mixing exotic drinks with tomato juice and grapefruit juice, you know, cream.
When you went in the studio on the last record, you went in with, so it says, book of poems and writings by Tom Marshall.
Yes.
So did you know that you were going to use a lot of that for source material for lyrics, or was that was intentional?
Yes.
But you didn't know what music was going to, or what was going to be pulled from.
There was the book of lyrics we had was, you know, a couple hundred pages thick of just everything he's written for the last 10 years or whatever. So we just sort of, we would have, what would happen is we would have these little bits of jams that we liked, and we would just pull one. We'd say, okay, let's listen to this bit, and someone would be looking through the book and they'd say, oh, this will go over that. And we'd get up the mic, we'd sing a version of it, and that happened for about 4 days. You know, just coming up with, we probably came up with about 15 or 20 different things that were, you know, lyrics on top of this jam session stuff. And we didn't know that we were recording our final vocals at the time, but these actually were the vocals that ended up going on, a lot of them, on the album.
We transfer them over via Pro Tools and all that. It wasn't time coded or anything, we just kind of throw it over.
Yep.
Did he, when he's writing, is he writing knowing that it's going to end up mixed with a musical structure, or is he just writing it as poetry?
Tom is a computer programmer, and a friend of mine since very early.
Is he like a software designer, or?
He actually does troubleshooting for a big company. People call him and he tells them what's wrong. But he writes to a friend of his. He has a friend, Scott Herman, who they email. So really, when he should be doing his job, he spends most of the day, I'm going to get him fired, he spends most of the day emailing Scott Herman, and then they just print the whole thing out. So this can be anything from just, you know, plays on words to poems about his life and problems he's having. But we've been kind of writing songs together since 8th grade.
Well, I would think it would be kind of important to his, it's important to his work to be able to do that as part of his work.
Yes.
And not, and if they try to say, no, do this on your own time, he's going to feel different about his. This is getting. This is getting.
No,
we're getting way.
We've talked about that a lot, because even when the band started, there was a little bit of conversation between myself and Tom about him moving up to Vermont, and it's turned out over the years that I think maintaining his normal 9-to-5 job has been a real benefit, because he doesn't really feel like he's writing lyrics. He's just killing time at work in between phone calls. And,
so if you took away the job, then
if you took away the job,
he'd be just kind of sitting around and wouldn't know what to do. enjoying.
So he needs both of that.
I think so.
Yeah.
It seems that way.
It's a
Yeah.
It's like
great
Einstein
extension.
working in the patent office, you know, like having to do a job, you know, just doing patents, and on the side coming up with a theory of relativity.
It's a side thing.
Hey Mo, take a look at this.
Let me jump to tickets. I was going around to various websites, and a lot of the you guys have managed to do a ticket thing where you contact the community of fans, other musicians, whoever, about the shows. They find ways of getting tickets. There's a whole system that, while it's not adversarial about the big ticket outlets, it allows people to go around it, and also to go around scalpers and everything else. How have you managed to do that? It's, I mean, it's been well publicized where other bands have gone up against, in an adversarial way, against the big outlets,
Right.
and kind of got knocked down. How have you guys managed to do it?
I think it started with, we have a very involved newsletter that goes out to, I don't even know what the number is. It's
You got 150,000
150,000 people, and we send it out 5 or 6 times a year, a free newsletter to our fans. In that, people are able to write in, this is the technical way that it goes about, but they're able to write in and they find out about this sort of thing. We've been able to work with it with Ticketmaster and the outlets where we are, and the promoters, that we get a certain percentage of the seats in a house. We're given them, then we're allowed to release them through our own way, which is nice, because if people don't want to pay that surcharge, they're able to get it through us, and get it through the mail order. And you know, if some people go on tour with us, they can buy an entire, you know, however many shows they want to go to at one time, and it's not an adversarial thing. It's just something we've done as a convenience to our fans.
Kind of relates to some philosophies that we've had. We've also done some shows, these end of the summer shows that we do up in Maine, where we try to do the entire event in-house, from building the stage to designing the shape of the fence to how many portalettes there's going to be. And I think it's another option in the world of, you know, SFX and corporations buying up the whole concert industry.
And that seems more modeled after kind of the European festivals.
Yeah, actually.
Where there's I don't know if that's conscious or not. Where there's it's not the European festivals. It's not just about a bunch of big name acts. There's also food, and there's also rides.
And
all
and
kinds.
You can camp, and you can get to it easily, and
all that kind of stuff. Camping is all set out ahead of time and planned and everything. Anyway.
We were at a festival in 1992, Roskilde, which I think you were actually at
that one
as well. And the London Symphony played. And then some of the splinter groups from the symphony went into the campgrounds, and they had, you know, string quartets and brass. And we modeled some of our festival after that. We had little musicians, you know, musicians spread out through the campground, wandering.
Little musicians.
Only small ones, no large musicians.
No,
it was
over 4'6".
It was a revelation to be
It'd
able
be
to go.
smaller than you.
It had to be smaller than me.
Yeah.
It was nice to see those European festivals and see how well they can work, and how, you know, people were getting along, and all sorts of different kinds of acts and different size stages, and it just didn't. It was something I'd never seen over here before.
Yeah, there's no theme to the musicians. You know, they had just
everyone
good music.
from Native Americans to bands like us to
And rap bands and symphonies.
Well, we had,
David
what was
Byrne.
our tent was Buffy St. Marie, and then us, and then Evo Papasa's Bulgarian Wedding Day.
That was
You know,
the three in a row at Roskilde.
that was three. and
That was the
just-
combination.
And every tent kind of was like that. You know? Even though they had, like, you know, themed tents, like they had the Boogie Down Productions tent, was like more of a rap-oriented tent or something like that. But even within those acts, there was a lot of difference. So, but I don't know. I just remembered that lineup.
Yeah.
Let me go to the taping policy. Your taping policy, which some people will be familiar with, but for other people, they'll think, "What's going on here?" allowing people to essentially make bootlegs.